Donald Trump has no character. He doesn't give a damn about the Latino community. He's failed businessman. He only cares about the billionaire friends he has and accumulating wealth for those at the top. He says immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Give me a break. He wants to do away with the birthright citizenship. Who the hell has said that in the last 100 years? And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable, and it's un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done, everything we've been.
Oh, are you guys? Hi, Patty. Hi, Ringo. Yes, I am Trump trash as well. We are all trash, trash, trash. I am just amazed. Up until Joe Biden did this little speech, which oddly enough, he did at the same time that Kamala was wrapping up doing her final farewell, wrap up speech, and then here comes Joe Biden online once again at the same time as her. And I'm not really sure why he's doing this. A lot of people are trying to say that he is intentionally trying to pull viewers from her. He's intentionally trying to underhand and backstab her campaign. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know if he is actually, trying to do that. I know that he probably feels bitter about the fact that they made him come out of the election the way they did. Could he possibly be trying to sabotage her campaign because of it? It's possible. It certainly is. I mean, this is not the first time that out of nowhere, while she is out there campaigning, he is finally deciding to go live. He's going to press conferences, stuff he hasn't done in the last year. He's doing, and then he comes out and says stuff like this. He referred to, I would say, probably close to 60% of the population of the United States of America. I would confidently say probably 60% of us as trash. As trash. I mean, literally the people that he represents, sir, you are currently our president. I don't know how you can govern the American people if you do not love the American people. As soon as you get into a situation where you feel that over 60% of the country that you are governing is trash, maybe you should have went back to bed. I can't believe that his handlers are even giving him internet access at this point, unless again there is. I mean, is his wife in on it, helping? Is his wife in on helping him get these messages out there? Like who is hitting the live button for him? Because I don't know what they're doing other than helping the Trump train. Yeah, Trump trash train. Choo choo. Let's get that Trump trash train going. Hi Mia, hi Annie. Yeah, you're Trump trash also. I'm just mind blown. So here we are yesterday, if you guys remember towards the end of my live, somebody came in and they were like, I'm a Democrat and I was gonna vote Republican until all of the hate and the Republican Party saying all these hateful things. And then it was like half hour later that Joe Biden comes out, or all the news started spreading, I guess, because who knows how many people actually watch this live, about Joe Biden not not referring to a land mass as Trump, but or as trash, but referring to literally half of the half of the population as trash. Um, and one of the things that we talked about yesterday with political comedians, sometimes they will pick an issue that is a real, true problem, and they will highlight that issue with their comedy. And so that's just how you make an issue relevant. That's how you bring attention to it. You put it into your comedy. That stand-up artist or comedian that was speaking at that rally, he didn't call the Puerto Rican people trash. He called the land mass, he referred to that being trash floating. And if you guys have looked at Puerto Rico, we showed this yesterday. They have had a trash issue. Their landfills are over 75% full, 85% full, actually. Sorry, 85% full. They have a real, genuine crisis going on right now in Puerto Rico to deal with all of that trash. And if anything, this comedian has made all these eyes look over at this issue and realize that it's going on. And so that's a whole thing. Hi TM. Yeah, you voted early today. Voted proud for Trump. You loved the trash truck with Trump 2024 on it. Crime Sleuthin says, I'm loving Trump's expert level troll back response today with the MAGA garbage truck. He's speaking now at his rally in a garbage truck vest. Oh, geez. I did not even know that was going on. He denies even knowing who the comedian is. I think that's the other huge difference. This comedian said these things. It was not Trump. It was not anybody who is a part of his campaign. It was a literal comedian. These rallies are set up by the events that are holding them. It's likely somebody that the event holder or whoever was setting up that rally reached out to that comedian and asked him to perform. It's not like they go up and they pre-vet these speeches or anything like that. They apparently probably should. But we're in this situation where that doesn't happen. Now, to hold Trump responsible for something that was said by not him, that just doesn't seem fair to me. But then here we are with Biden literally calling probably 60% of the United States trash. And I mean, they're trying to say, oh, well, there was an apostrophe in his sentence and he wasn't referring to, the American people, because we got to clean that up now. We got to make it sound like that never happened and fact check everybody who's talking about it. And of course, you know, we all heard it. We heard it with our own ears. We could play the video every way to Sunday. He says he continues to go on and talk about Trump more throughout that. We have seen them with this rhetoric, this hate-filled rhetoric over and over and over again. I mean, there are clips of Hillary Clinton referring to anybody who supports Trump as fascist, as Nazis. And again, you're talking about probably 60% of the population. And it's just sick the way that they continue to try to divide people. Yeah, he does. He speaks so highly of Puerto Rico. He really does. And I get it. I understand, but it is a true issue. And I don't know. Yeah. So that just is the beginning of what I want to talk about tonight, guys. Whenever we were closing off last night, we were kind of talking about these different issues that are going on, especially in tribal lands right now. I started to discuss the things that are going on in North and South Dakota that have become a really huge issue. A lot of you guys know from covering missing person cases that in tribal lands, their police force is different than the United States police force. And a lot of the things that they are dealing with right now are these Mexican drug cartels setting up shop on these tribal reservations because they know that the federal government is the only people with jurisdiction over those lands. And so the administration has been just letting this happen. We were talking about how whenever my church went out there recently, they go out and they do vacation Bible schools out there probably twice a year, and just trying to help the pastor that's out there who is trying to support and lift up his community. Obviously, give them the gospel, but also supply them with things that they need, like warm blankets, food, shelter whenever it gets very cold out, and things like that. Because uh, a lot of these indigenous people are living still in tents in these areas with entire families, with literal entire families. And so whenever they went out for this last camp meeting, there is a little boy who has been coming to every camp meeting since we started, and he was not there. And our pastor asked the other kids, where is this child at today? And the children all got very quiet and they got sad. And they said, he was taken to the city today. And what's happening right now in these tribal communities is these families are selling these children. They are trafficking these children. People know about it and they are not stopping it. They're not saving these children. They are not protecting these children. The Mexican drug cartels literally followed the church bus as they were going to pick up kids for these vacation Bible school events, and they were waving guns at the children and telling them to go back inside. They weren't allowing the children to go to the vacation Bible school, and followed the bus with weapons and things like that. It was just a very, very concerning situation. And so I found an article actually. This is actually from today that just so happened to come out, and it's talking about the exactly what I was saying yesterday. And so I thought it was interesting that I was able to find an article that kind of backs up the fact that this border crisis is not just affecting Texas. This border crisis is not just affecting Colorado. It's not just affecting Ohio. It's affecting everyone. But we're seeing, especially the indigenous community, is just getting completely ravaged by this issue, and nobody cares because it's only the indigenous community, right? It's only happening in these lands, and nobody cares that it's going on. And so here's this article I wanted to show you guys. So it says, let me see if I can play the thing and see if it just reads and lets you guys do this. Let's see.
National Guard when I was down there on Friday. They said the reason.
So this to preface this is the governor in South Dakota. She is coming out and she is talking about what is going on Newsmax right now in South Dakota on their tribal lands.
To the Texas National Guard when I was down there on Friday. They said the reason that the federal government took them to court was because the razor wire they were putting up was actually working. They had put it up on top of shipping containers on a panel in a different method that actually kept even the able-bodied military-aged men unable to climb it and cross over it. So you could see everywhere they had installed this new way of putting this barrier in place, it worked. And that's when the federal government decided to take them to court and sue them to have to take it down. So that's what's incredible to me. We have a president that's not just ignoring federal law, he's knowingly violating federal law and helping and facilitating this invasion. I did a joint address to my legislature today because I wanted them to know that even though South Dakota isn't a neighboring state to Texas, that we're on the front lines of this thing. I've got 9 Native American tribes, and the cartels are set up on our tribal grounds, and they are facilitating this drug trafficking, this human trafficking through my tribal grounds here in South Dakota. Because, Eric, I don't have jurisdiction there.
Right.
The Department of Justice and the federal government have jurisdiction on our reservations. I don't as a state. So they're using these areas of federal lands as havens for their criminal activity. And every single state literally is a border state because we've got these cartels throughout the country in protected areas, and Joe Biden's letting it happen.
I had no idea. That's learn something new about this crisis every day.
So this is exactly what I was talking about yesterday, though. They can't even stop it. The local police, whenever you call them to try to get help to the tribal lands, they do nothing. They can't do anything. They have no jurisdiction. They have no ability to go in there and actually help these children that are actively being trafficked right in front of everyone. Right in front of everyone. Everybody knows it's happening. Everybody sees the drugs that are going on. Everyone sees the abuse. Everyone sees these crimes being committed, and nobody can stop it because it has to be done by the federal government. And they're just letting these cartels completely take over communities like this. And it's absolutely freaking devastating.
Every day, they're using Native American lands because there's no jurisdiction, and the cartels are allowing this stuff to. It's incredible. Mike Johnson, again today, earlier on the House floor, his first speech, his first address, also pointed this out. Take a listen.
The day he took office, the very first day that he walked into the Oval Office, President Biden revoked Executive Order 9844. You know what that did? It ended construction of the border wall that Congress had already paid for. In February 2021, the administration stopped applying Title 42 expulsions to children and incentivized, by doing that, incentivized families to send unaccompanied children through Mexico under the watch of who? Cartels and traffickers.
Hearing this stuff, you really have to stop and think, why? Why is this happening? And you think about how much of a moneymaker, and this is going to sound extremely sick and very disturbing, you guys, but how much of a moneymaker the trafficking industry is, and how lucrative it is. And then you really have to stop and question 330,000 plus missing children. Am I saying that every single one of those 330,000 children are being trafficked? No. I'm sure, though, that there are probably thousands, probably tens of thousands of that 300,000 that are in situations that are deplorable, and that are just terrifying to even think about and consider, to be completely honest. Just completely untracked. And then on top of that, you have all of these children, women and children inside of these tribal lands that are being raped, that are being murdered, that are being trafficked, and nobody will stop it. The drugs, just the obscene amount of drugs. The church that we have gone out there, and our church has been helping for the last couple of years, they have vandalized and robbed it. They've gone as far as breaking every single window in all of the buildings, doing all these things because this pastor is trying so hard. He's 90 years old. He is trying so hard for the last 40 years to help this community, and he was really starting to get through until this border crisis took over this area, and just completely, he just doesn't know what to do. Like, he's at his wit's end because it's just nonstop. And then he's fearful for his life. Are they eventually going to unalive him because he is standing in the way, or he's helping these children, trying to help them get out of these situations, trying to help these people who are addicted to drugs stop being so addicted and things like that. And this is the cost. This is the cost of these executive actions that they have done and that they still stand behind. This is the cost of not having borders. And so whenever I hear people talk about, well, Trump offended me because he did this, and this. Okay, those are mean words, right? Those are mean words. What's offensive to me is that we sit here in this true crime community and we pretend to care about children. We pretend to care about these cases. We pretend to care about people who are in domestic violence situations and things like that. But we continue to support a Democratic Party who has opened up this floodgate. And we're going to talk about it some more on the Local My Life as well tonight. We're going to be live with her at 10 o'clock after this live. But we're going to talk about the cost, the criminal cost that has happened with these open borders, and the things that the news media is not talking about. You are not going to see this crisis in South Dakota on CNN. I'm sorry, you're not, because it makes them look freaking terrible. You're not going to see that crisis on CNN. You're not going to see it on NBC. You're not going to see it on ABC. I mean, it's just completely flying under the radar, and nobody seems to care. And it's devastating.
Crazy. And yet Joe Biden says, I want to do something about the border. Give me control. Give me the border patrol. Can you imagine if we turned over border patrol to Joe Biden?
No, and what's sad to me is these Border Patrol agents, they don't want to do what this president is doing. They're good people who've been in these positions for many, many years. They've lived in these communities, and they hate what they're seeing as a destruction to their town, their city, their community, and their country. And so that's what's so difficult. Is I don't know of anybody that supports the president's policies except for him and his White House affiliates. You look at those who work within ICE, those who work within Border Patrol, and even many of these Democrat mayors don't like dealing with the consequences of this illegal invasion that we've got going on. So I was absolutely thrilled that after I gave this joint address and informed South Dakota about the battle we fight every day and how these Mexican cartels are killing our children, that they overwhelmingly passed a resolution in support of securing our national border. And also it was very much in support of our states' rights. The Democrats were encouraging this president to federalize our National Guard troops, to put them under their control and not ours as governors. It's the first time we would have paid soldiers. If the president takes that action, it's the first time that we would be paying soldiers to stand down, to not protect America. And that's what the Democrat Party is fighting for today, is they don't want governors to be able to be the commander in chief of our National Guard. They want the president to take action to take them away from us and then pay them from going into a war zone to actually protect our country. It would be unprecedented, and that's why we're taking such a strong stand here in South Dakota is to defend our state's rights.
No, I totally agree with that, TM. She said people do care about this. The community we are in, people don't really watch the news, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's 100% true because I mean, so many of these cases even that we cover, the facts just need constantly spoon-fed to people for them to understand the true picture of what's going on. The issue is whenever you have facts, there's always the alternative facts that are out there as well. And so then people have to decide, what do they believe? Do they believe that this is actually happening? Do they believe that the border crisis is a real true issue? Or do they think that it's being played up so for the purposes of the election? Now, this is something that is going on, whether the election is going on or not. And I would say, especially in the last year, in the last, I would say, 9 to 10 months, the cartels themselves have gotten so much of a stronger foothold in these areas than what they had had in the past. And it's completely terrifying. And it has nothing to do with the election, but the state of what is actually going on in these communities right now. And I'm scared for places like South Dakota, North Dakota, Colorado, places where these communities are that are being taken over by the cartels, if we get into a situation where we continue to allow more individuals that are part of those cartels to continue to flow in and not do anything to stop these. You think a lot of people think they have no control unless they're affected directly, then no need to look for control. Yeah, you care about all children, but today you voted for what you believe was in your son's best interest, right? You want him to live a beautiful, safe life, right? And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. So I don't know how many of you guys watched the movie The Sound of Freedom. I did want to show this as well. The producer from The Sound of Freedom, he did do a rally thing with Trump recently on the 22nd of October, and they kind of talk a little bit about this crisis at the border right now and some of the things that are going on. And so I did want to play this as well.
Knows want open borders. We want a secure border like all Americans. And we know what it leads to. Eduardo, who is the producer of Sound of Freedom, he has so much firsthand experience. So Eduardo, why don't you tell us about the movie and what we're facing with the immigration that the president's talking about?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, President, for your time. My name is Eduardo Verástegui, and I am very grateful to this nation for opening the door to my dreams. This nation has been such an amazing blessing in my life. God bless America. God bless Mexico, and God bless Hispanic America. And let's make America and Mexico and Hispanic America great again. Together, pro-life again, healthy again, and free again. I met these heroes 10 years ago in Los Angeles, California. Ex-Navy SEALs, ex-CIA agents, and they travel around the world undercover rescuing children. And when they told me in details what they do, in how they rescue these children, my eyes were open. And I said, I'm a filmmaker, I wanna make a movie about this, because the first step to eradicate child trafficking is to raise awareness. Because if you don't know that this problem exists, how you can fix it? So I made a promise to God that I will dedicate my entire life to end child trafficking. To end child trafficking. Because God's children are not for sale. Children are sacred.
I so hope that this man can be successful with what he is driven to do. Like, God bless anybody who can attack and these issues head on and not be afraid of the consequences. Because you better believe that the individuals that are behind all of these child trafficking rings and that are behind this evilness in our country and in this world, they are very powerful people, and I would not put it past them to try to remove anyone who is trying to stop this. That's good. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. And TM, she won't talk about the children because it makes her look horrible. They're not going to acknowledge the fact that those children are all missing. They will never. And it's not even just them. So think about the 330,000 immigrants that are missing. And then think about how many of our own children, American citizens, that are also missing, and how many that we've seen lately that are lured through video games and lured through different apps, or that are potentially almost kidnapped from different locations that you don't know what happened. We had an incident just here locally, 2 different days within the last, I would say, probably 2 weeks ago now. It's been about 2 weeks. We had 2 different days that somebody attempted to kidnap elementary school children from a bus stop inside of our community just recently. And I'm thinking to myself, the child would have been around 5th grade. The one that just almost had that happen most recently was a 5th grader. So we're looking at 10, 11 years old, this child that was almost taken. And if that child would have went missing, an 11-year-old kidnapped from their bus stop, depending on the circumstances, who the family is, what's going on in that family, would they even have searched for her? Would they even have looked for her? Or would they have just determined immediately that she was a runaway and never lifted a finger to try to locate her? Now, I can say for my own personal local community, I think that we would have activated very quickly, and I think that individuals would have searched for her. But I don't have that same confidence in every community. We see so many teens that are just written off as runaways every single day. And I'm sorry, but there's too many. There's too many. Yeah, we can't even save our own. I do too. It's so frustrating. Hi, Crazy 8. She turned up her nose, refused to apologize to the mothers of beautiful daughters murdered by. Wow. Wow. Me too. I feel the term runaway needs to be eliminated. I agree. I agree.
And I am very grateful with you, Mr. President, dear amigo, dear hermano, because of you hosting a private screening in your house, because of you endorsing Sound of Freedom. After that, Sound of Freedom became the #1 independent film in box office ever in history, produced by a Mexican producer. Thank you for that. Thank you for the incredible hard work you're doing. Thank you for putting the children first. And that's why it's so important, is for all the media, for all Mexican Americans, Hispanic Americans, to vote for President Trump. And I know we will win for the 3rd time. For the 3rd time. Yes. Yes. We will win for the 3rd time. And that's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. Because it's true. Because it's true. Look what is happening right now. Look what is happening right now with these evil people. Obama, Hillary, Kamala, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, all this team. There's more than 300,000 children, over 300,000 children that they came through the border, they released them, and we don't know where they are. Kamala, where are the children? Kamala, where are the children? You know, these people, Kamala and Biden, they're the biggest human traffickers in the history. And everyone knows that. And that's why I'm here to give my 100% to support my dear friend, President Donald Trump. And again, we will win for the 3rd time.
The lady in the middle, did you see her eyes whenever he said that though? Like he said the quiet thing out loud just now. He said the quiet thing out loud. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to admit that out loud. You're a conspiracy theorist if you allege that political people or that any type of public figure could potentially be linked to child trafficking. How dare you ever say that? But what would be the point of doing the things that they did that led to all of these children being missing? And then whenever people try to lift up the curtain and look under it to see what's going on behind the curtain and why the children are gone, they're like, no, 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 that's not happening. That's not happening. Don't look that way. You know, you don't want to look at that way. But he did. Like, her face, though, you could tell that she was a little bit uncomfortable, like, because he did. He just said the quiet part out loud.
Kamala, where are the children? You know, these people, Kamala and Biden, they're the biggest human traffickers in the history. And everyone knows that. And that's why I'm here to give my 100% to support my dear friend, President Donald Trump. And again, we will win for the third time. God bless.
I really wish the best for Candace Owens. Honest to goodness, she is an amazing, amazing woman. I have seen so many different things from her, and just her integrity just speaks for itself. And it's been very educational watching her different stuff. Her and Lucy, for that matter. Lucy has also been, I can't imagine how Lucy felt the day that she came out, and the Republican Party has just been loving on her and welcoming her with open arms after how many years that she has been completely hated by her own party. And now she is just this voice of reason, that the Republican Party is just so thankful to have her speaking out. So thankful. They're both just very incredible women.
Bless you. God bless you, Mr. President.
Really nice. Thank you.
We need to put you in the White House back again, in the beautiful White House. You're going to be in the beautiful White House again.
You bring up something that people don't talk about, the press doesn't talk about. I think if it were on the other side, it would be one of the great scandals in history. It's actually 325,000 children are missing, sex slaves, or dead.
Yes.
One of those four things: slaves, sex slaves, missing or dead. And think of what 325,000, you know, we say it's a number, blah, blah, blah. I was talking to a reporter before. I said 325,000. Oh, what else is new? He's going like, let's go to the next question. I'm saying to myself, can you believe it? Wow. A bad sort of a reporter. I told him he is. But think of it almost like, you know, like, let's get on with the interview. Think of what 325,000, we have religious leaders up here. Think of what 325,000, how many times can you fill a nice big stadium like a Yankee Stadium with that 325,000? They're missing. I think many of them are dead. Most of them possibly are dead. It's so sad. Our country is so sad. And then you wake up to the news that we've given the entire Israeli game plan to the enemy. Who could imagine this? Who could imagine this? I would say Israel's not too happy about that, right? But with all of this together, add it up, and I'm just so glad I bring it up, and it doesn't register. Maybe it registered better the way you said it, because, you know, you're such passion the way you said that. We are missing, during their regime, this stupid person that was the border czar. She was made the border czar. Now she said she wasn't. She was the border czar for 3.5 years, and now she said no. Whether she is or not, she was in charge of the border. That's loud and clear. She never once called the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol, by the way, 5 days ago endorsed me, which is something they're not even really supposed to do. And in endorsing me, they gave it a full-throated endorsement, but in endorsing me, they said how horrible she is. And it's not easy for them to say that. You know, this is the vice president of the country. They work for the country. They said the worst that they've ever seen. And you know, they're great people. They're people that want to do their job. It's easier not to do the job, probably. Just let the people walk right into our country. They want to do the job. They love the country. They're incredible people. I've gotten to know them very well. And they said not one time, the question was asked by the fake news, how many times did she call? not one call was ever made to any of them by either Biden or Kamala. Not one call about the border. And I actually think it's the biggest thing. You know, we talk about the economy and we talk about inflation. Let's put them together. But there's something about that border that's just really, really evil. The drugs, the human trafficking, you know, it's not just people pouring through, it's the human trafficking, and they traffic in women mostly. It's mostly women, believe it or not, as much as we talk about the 325,000, but women still have the big edge. They traffic in women and children, and they do it at levels that, by the way, 4 years ago, it's always bad if you do one person.
I'm gonna stop it right there for a second. He's gonna go over a couple figures in a second, but before we even get into that, he mentioned women. So think about the fact that if you are over the age of 18 and you go missing, no one is looking for you. Never mind an immigrant. Okay, it's hard enough to get people to look for an 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old, 15, 16-year-old teenager. But as soon as you cross over into those adult years, you better forget it. They're not searching. I mean, we have covered cases like the Irion case, Naomi's case back in what's wrong? Hold on one second. We've covered cases though where people have had to start their own investigations. I mean, her brother had to literally find the video footage of her being kidnapped before police would take it seriously. And so the hope that any one of these women that are crossing this border with a cartel or with sex traffickers, you know, the hope that they have to ever get rescued or looked for in those situations, I can't imagine that there's even an ounce of hope in that situation. And it just floors me that people are okay with this. People are okay with this. People think that we should have open borders. People think that we should be letting this happen. People think that we have I don't know. But in the meantime, all these women, these children, they're going through God only knows what. Yeah, many years of children being taken and those children having children in captivity. Yeah, it's horrible. Right, trust the family, Naomi. That's the other thing. All the people who sacrifice so much to adopt, to foster, and they are handing these migrant children over to anyone. It's terrifying. You believe Trump will only look and care for the children who are legal immigrants? Yeah, he did. He said that we'll likely never find them. We will likely never find them. Where does it start? How do you fix this problem? And thank God that we have somebody who's even willing to sit at the table and address this problem. This is huge.
Person is bad, but this is 15 or 16 times the number. Nobody checks, nobody does anything. You know how you check? You go and open the trunk of a car. That's how they put them mostly in trunks of cars. How would you like to be a woman, a little girl, a little boy in the trunk of a car? That's how they find them. A lot of times they're dead because of the heat. They drive through. By the time they get to the destination, they open the trunk and they're dead. And this horrible, incompetent person has allowed this to happen and never one time called anybody from the Border Patrol. They work for her and they work for him, and then they complain about a bill. It's a phony deal. It's a scam. There's no bill. I never had a bill. All you have to do as president, wake him up and say, Joe, we need you to say close the border. That's what I did.
That's right.
I just said we're closing the border. He keeps talking about, they keep bringing up a phony bill. The bill was horrible. 2 million people are allowed in. It was a horrible bill, stupid bill, but has nothing to do. as president, you have it's called extreme power. You have extreme power. You can, by the fact you say, close the border, and the border's closed. That's it. Very, very simple. You don't need all of this nonsense that they talk about. But the truth is, for some reason, and I can't figure it out, for some reason they want open borders. Nobody's been able to tell me why. I don't think they can tell you why. They just want open borders. So we have to win the election. I'm so glad you brought up, you said 300, but the number's actually 325. I'll give you a number that's really bad too. So the Border Patrol, because they've had it, they've never done this before, they released a list of criminals in our country. And they really are tremendously good if you let them do the job like I let them do the job. We have 13,099, exactly, 13,000 during their term. They tried to say, oh, this is over 40 years. No, this is during their 3.5 year that they've been there. 13,099 murderers. These are murderers. These are people that were in prison and they're murderers. Some are up for the death penalty, but some killed far more than one person. 13,099, it's the exact number. Every one of them has been released into the United States of America. Then you have the drug lords and the drug dealers.
13,099 known murderers just let in. Why? Why were they ever let in? And I agree with this, Dee. People want to talk about women's issues on the left, but listen, this is women's issues. This is huge to me. And I had brought this up. We had done a political live stream a couple weeks ago, and that was what somebody said. You know, they came in and said, vote blue, your daughters depend on you, is what they said. Vote blue, your daughters depend on you. I pray that my children are never in a situation where they are the victim of a sexual crime and that they need to undergo an abortion. I pray that that never befalls any of our children, right? I don't want my children to be the victim of rape or incest or whatever it is, as far as like an exclusion to an abortion and things like that. I would rather not have to choose my political stance on just that issue. And I do believe and agree that each individual state and your local officials should be the ones who make that determination, because I realize that people in my little small bodonk town will never have the same opinion on it as people, for example, in a city like Detroit or New York or California or wherever you are. And so I do think that it should be something that is given to the states as they have done now, and that each locality should make that decision. If you have an issue with that, change your local electors. Change and push for your local government to change those laws. And don't try to put us in a situation where we are determining an entire election just based off of abortion. Why is that the only thing? I mean, I have asked Democrats, you tell me 3 policies that Kamala has that makes you think that you absolutely need to support her, that you 100% need her to be the president because of this, that, and the other thing. And all I constantly hear is women's rights and the fact that she is a woman. People want to see her in office because of that, and that they hate Trump. They can't even come up with 3 policies, but it always comes down to this issue of abortion or not. But I'm sorry, how is this not important whenever we have known trafficking going on in communities because of this border crisis? Whenever we have known children being sold, whenever we have known women being sold, whenever we have 325,000 children being sold or missing, I guess I should say missing, because we don't know that they were all sold. You have all of this going on. How is that not your primary issue and the thing that you are the most focused on? And I know that all of our brains work differently. We all have different viewpoints and all of those things, but I just can't put myself in a position where I understand where people are coming from whenever you can look past all of that and say that it's better for my daughter to have the right to have an abortion someday than it is for her to have a fair chance at women's sports, or to have a fair chance at not being sex trafficked, or her grandchildren not being sex trafficked by an illegal immigrant that is in our area because the government has placed them there. Um, and so it's just it doesn't make sense to me. It will never make sense to me. And I wish that somebody could break it down to make me understand why that's what you want to have. That's the hill that you're willing to die on right now. That's where we want to do. We want to have emotional arguments, and Trump hurt my feelings, and he hurt somebody else's feelings, and he made a funny statement, or he did an inappropriate joke, or he tweeted something mean. It all comes back to emotional arguments. You know what makes me emotional? This situation. This makes me very emotional. Thinking about these children and what they are going through currently, right now. Right now, in this minute, there is a child right now that is being violated against their will by somebody who crossed this border illegally. It's disgusting. Yeah, if we get nuked, no one is going to have a baby or be having an abortion. Good point. Yeah, so it won't matter at that point. Who in this chat knows someone who is missing or trafficked? Trump will deport the parent of illegal immigrant that is missing before. I think you're gonna probably say more things. Probably. It seems like you ended that thought right in the middle. Most presidential candidates will talk about God with abortion and women's rights, not Kamala. She denounces Christianity. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Can you name 3? Assume I'm not Patty. Can you name 3? We can't hold others to the same standard. Are you saying that I can't name 3 issues? 3 issues that Trump is why I need to vote for him? This right here. The missing children crisis, the illegal immigrants, the border crisis, the economy, inflation. I can keep going. Foreign policy. I think that Kamala's foreign policy would be an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare for our country. Those things alone. Melina is also pro-choice. Really? I didn't know that. Yeah. You didn't say you can't. Right. You said please name 3. Oh yeah, I can name so many, Amanda. So many. Yeah. I think that Amanda is in the same frame of mind as us, but yeah, I can name a lot. Right. Economy, foreign policy. Exactly. He will make the economy better, he will fix the border, and he will keep our country out of war. Well, let's talk about the other things that he's talking about doing. What about the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration? What about the issues that are going on with that? RFK is now going to be appointed under Trump's administration to the FDA to clean up the health crisis that's going on in our nation. That's another thing that I think needs to be focused on more because it's a real issue. The amount of chemicals and things that are allowed in our processed goods, which let's face it, I would say probably 60 to 70% of our population are struggling financially and are on paycheck to paycheck basis, can't eat organic, can't eat healthy foods. They're shopping the middle aisles in those grocery stores, and they are buying processed garbage and raising our children on processed garbage. And then our children are having all of these different health issues. Then we give them medications and to try to fix these health issues that the Food Administration with all of their different chemicals have created. And then big pharma and the food companies have joined together to poison our country, and they are making us fat, useless, and creating all of these different type of of disorders in our children. I firmly believe that that's where autism comes from in a lot of children, not all of them. I do think that there is some stuff that is genetically caused, but I think that autism, ADHD, and all of these different things, a lot of it comes from the chemicals that we eat. Look at the same products over in the UK. They don't contain um, I would say they have probably about a third of the ingredients that our same products have in them. Why is that? Well, it's because in America, the FDA allows companies to add these additives that literally they came up with the nicotine companies to make us addicted to Pringles, to make us addicted to Pepsi, to make up to make us addicted to all of these different types of unhealthy foods, so that we continuously want to purchase them and we continuously want to consume them, and we're dealing with these diabetes epidemics and all of these different things. And so that's where I'm at with this whole situation. That's another thing that I think is going to change if Trump is elected, having RFK in there to tear down and rebuild the Food and Drug Administration and to stop allowing so much of this processed garbage to just be approved inside of our country. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be completely a big deal. Yeah, it is. It's mainly food dyes. He is. He's gonna help clean up the poisons that we've been fed. And so I think that's another one of those things that do you see the news talk about the changes that they're hoping to make in that? No. They're so focused on what a comedian said at a Trump rally instead of focusing on what these different candidates actually stand for and what the different changes and what things are actually going to be implemented. And I don't know if me talking about this or going over this different information, if it's going to bring to light anything that you guys have not already heard of or that you haven't considered before you cast your vote. I'm not out here necessarily trying to change your votes. I just wanted to have a platform, use my platform to talk about these different issues that I think are important over the next couple days leading up to this election, as we get ready for it. So, yeah, it's dangerous. I do think so too. So, but anyways, you guys, I appreciate all of you for coming. I'm going to go ahead and close this up so that I can get ready for my stream with Lokamai. The stream itself should launch you over to her channel. If it does not, let me get you guys her link. And we are going to be talking more towards the criminal aspect of the crisis that's going on right now at our border. These different lives that we have seen lost. I know one that you guys probably all know about is Rachel Morin, mom of 5, who was murdered by an illegal immigrant. And so consider popping over so that you guys can come and hang out with us over there. Today's our Wednesday night. We go live every Wednesday night, but I will be live all this week, and leading up to the election. You guys can join me at the polls on Tuesday, and we will, yeah, we'll get our votes all in. If you're not planning to vote, I don't know, guys. Just vote. Just vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just vote. It's so important. I do care who you vote for. Vote for Trump. Become Trump trash with the rest of us. So